Good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Kradel. I am the rector of St. John's Episcopal Church, which is in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Our diocese is without a treasurer at the moment, so I am giving the year-end results and the budget proposal. So year-end 2019. Remember, that takes us back to normal time, pre-pandemic. And the diocese, in raw numbers, had a total income of $2,559,000 and change, which was 23% above what was budgeted. And I'll get to that in a second, with total expenses being $2,141,000. So this means there was a net surplus of $418,000 compared to a forecast of $24,000 deficit. Now, there were two significant events that had to be adjusted for so that you can compare. And what is, if there are one-time events that are odd, you essentially put those in a different place so that you can compare 2019 to 2020 to 2021 in a reasonable way. And the two events that needed to be attended to for 2019 is one, there was some investment income that was supposed to come in 2018, but came in January of 2019, which was $390,000 and some. And the second was that there was an estate gift of $200,000 and some. So you take those two out, and it's $591,109. Other things that happened was that there was there are various curates that get support from the diocese, and there was $57,000 of expenses related to Shape by Faith. Now, all these things needed to be adjusted: the leadership support, Shape by Faith, and then those two one-time events that really couldn't be compared to other years. So with those adjustments, the deficit was $54,000 compared to a projected budget deficit of $24,000. So what does that mean? That means there needs to be some tweaking to the budget process. And in the areas that needed to be tweaked, one is that there are lots of contributions to the diocese. We got contribution income of over $230,000. That 200 was an estate gift, which I mentioned earlier. There was a $10,000 gift from the Episcopal Diocese of Texas to help us with Shaped by Faith. So that was very nice. And then there were lots of gifts because the bishop took a trip to Sri Lanka. Remember traveling? Yeah, so anyway, someday we'll do that again. But there were lots of contributions for that mission trip that the bishop went on. And then there were areas where we did not get as much income as we thought. Oh yeah, and the Stevenson School, which I'll mention twice here. One is they got grants for $26,000. But there were also, the Stevenson School received less income from tuition and fees that was expected. Also, event fees for children, youth, and young adults were less than were expected, and contributions for clergy health from the Widows Corporation were less than expected. So therefore, those adjustments would be put into the 2020 budget. Widows Corporation, by the way, is no longer called the Widows Corporation, which is good because, say, my wife is a clergy person, and if she died, they would give me insurance money, but I would be a widower. So now they've changed the name to the Clergy Assurance Fund. Which was formerly known as the Widows Corporation. So, and then there's investments. So investments, there's 2019 was a very strong year, 18.94% return. But one thing we do when we take a draw is we do a running average. So the portfolio's 3-year average annual return is 8.4, which is, you take that running average because economic cycles have booms and busts, and you need to level that out a little bit. And 2019 was a boom year. So the total assets that the diocesan pooled portfolio has is $26,465,250. Now, not all of that is diocesan money. $10,500,177 in 2019 was diocesan money. And then there are 38 parishes that have investments in this pooled fund. And those 38 parishes have a combined asset of $15,965,073. So that's 2019. 2020. 2020 was volatile. because a global pandemic started in March. However, actually, financially, things are all right. First 3 quarters of 2020 had an approximately 9% higher income than 2019. So how do you do that? So the total of that was $1.7 million and change. Well, A, the government helped because there was a Payroll Protection Act and the diocese applied for that. And there's a special section of that act for religious institutions. And the diocese received $182,000 from the federal government. Second was that fair share contributions came in just like they did in 2019. So all those parishes that sent in their fair share contributions deserve commendation because it was an anxious year, but your contributions came in just like they did last year. So expenses for the first 3 quarters of 2020 were $1.5 million, or about 63% of the total budgeted expenses. There were a lot of savings, and there were some areas where less money was received, and those areas are related because staff did not travel, starting in March like they did before. So there are savings from that because of travel expenses and hotel expenses and everything that goes into travel. So that didn't happen. There were savings from that. Staff continued to connect with people, but they tended to do it like we're doing right now. And so that's different. And then investments were about the same. I'll get to events in just a second. But investments, the pooled investments are holding steady at around $24,910,000, which is that, you heard the number for 2019. The S&P 500 finished the third quarter slightly positive, even after March's precipitous drop. So 2020 is a volatile year, but they're keeping track of everything because, of course, we know it's going to be volatile. So therefore, regular check-ins are something that have been the order of the day. And I guess I didn't mention that earlier, but I said I would. There were savings through diocesan staff not needing to travel. There was a loss of income due to event income. Money would have come in for events when you pay fees for that, and that didn't. However, there were savings because these events have costs associated with them as well. So those things have been offsetting each other quite nicely. You can see the details in the full report. Now, 2021. Budgeting for 2021 is more challenging than during normal time because there's lots of uncertainty dealing with a global pandemic. Markets also are doing well, but there's volatility that comes with uncertainty. I can tell you that during presidential election years, the markets will be uncertain for a while until after it's over, and then they tend to level out. So, income. For 2021, and you can see in your budget summary, there is total income projected of $2,179,360. This is an increase of this is a decrease, sorry, of 1.6% from 2020. Now, major sources of income: diocesan assessment and investments. And both of those show slight increases, so that's good. Fair share is a rolling average, and it didn't change. It's a 2.3% increase. So this is, you take a parish, you look at their operating income, you take an average of that. It's a progressive, so big parishes end up paying more than small parishes. And the projected income for 2021 is $1,590,388. Investments. There's a 5% draw on a 3-year rolling average. As I mentioned before, the reason doing a rolling averages is because markets can be volatile, but you can even it out by looking at the same time period over 3 years. And for investments, the expectation is to have $405,472, and that's a 4.3 increase from 2020. Then, some other things to pay attention to in this budget summary. There will be a decline in event income for reasons previously discussed. There's also, and then, so there will be fewer in-person events in 2021. If you look at communication and events, though, there's still $131,000 budgeted for that because, of course, our technologies are so important right now. And those of us who never thought we'd be doing so much of church life through technology, we are right now, and that's certainly true at the diocesan level. You can see $40,000 have been decreased from diocesan grants, and a lot of that has been diverted to the Shape by Faith initiative because that's lots of things are happening right now, and it's seed money for parishes to implement those plans. And then parish leadership support. There was monies designated for curates. Curates are deacons and priests right out of seminary that serve a 2-year period of time in a church. And those who've recently been doing that are now serving churches full-time as associates or rectors or priests in charge. And so fewer funds are needed for that. And then the $17,000 that's allocated for the Episcopal home, which was closed in 2020, has yet to be reallocated. So that's something that will happen in the future. The diocese gives an assessment to the Episcopal Church. So it's both the Episcopal Church in the United States, and we have some non-United States dioceses like Haiti. And our assessment is $275,000, which is a decrease of $25,000. And the way that the Episcopal Church assesses this is based on looking at the operating income of the diocese the year before. And then salary and benefits, because salary and benefits are a major expense of our diocese. It's an increase of 2.1%. So the total is $1,088,891. That 2.1% increase is 1% cost of living adjustment for salary, and then a 5.5% increase in the cost of healthcare. Then last item is that, so that all of that together results in a deficit of $98,671. Compared to the forecasted deficit in 2020. But the thing is that we get some grant allocations for Shaped by Faith and for leadership support. Those grant allocations will equal $81,000. So that means that after you make that adjustment, we're looking at a proposed 2021 budget with a $17,671 deficit during a year of a global pandemic. So I'm happy to submit this budget for your approval, and I will be in different clothes and in my parish hall for any questions. This is a recording, but we'll go live for questions.